सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। चालतो नहीं? अच्छा। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम् षोडशकलः सौम्य पुरुषः. The teacher Uddalaka said to Shvetaketu, because Shvetaketu was not yet very clear as to how the annam or the food contributes to the mind, how is it connected to mind, how does it nourish the mind, is not clear. Therefore, a practical experiment was conducted because he wanted to verify. Therefore, Shorsakala Somya Purusha, the teacher says, hey Somya, hey good looking one, the Purusha, the person, is made up of 16 kalas, 16 parts. Because the experiment went on for 16 days. That is why 16 kalas are told. So idea is that it is food that in fact contributes to the power of the mind. So demonstrate that with Anvaya, Vyatireka, agreement and disagreement or separation. Panchadash ahani ma ashihi. Hey Shvetaketu, may you not eat any food for 15 days. Kamam apaf piva. However, may you drink water as much as you want. Why is it so? Apomaya prana. Because prana, the vital air is made up of or modification of water. Therefore, may you drink water, otherwise, न पिबतः विच्छेद्यते विच्छेद्यते इति. If you do not drink water, your prana will depart. Therefore, you do drink water. Sah panchadashahani na asha. Shvetaketu, as instructed by the father, did not eat any food, observed fast for 15 days. Athahayanam upasasada. On the 16th day, Shvetaketu properly and with great humility approached his father. Kim bravimi bhoho iti. O revered sir, please tell me, what should I recite? Because he was educated, trained in all the four Vedas. Ruchah Somya. Hey Somya, O good looking one, may you recite the Rug mantras. Yajumshi, may you recite the Yajur mantras. Samani, may you recite the Sama mantras. Sahovasa, this is what the father said. Navaima pratibhanti bhoho iti. Then Shvetaketu says, O revered sir, these mantras do not shine, do not strike in my mind. I can't remember. Tam hovacha yatha somya mahatah abhyayitasya ekah angarah khadyotmatra parishishtaha. He Somya, O good looking one, just as very blazing fire. Fire, that is a big fire, that is set ablaze. Taklif છે કે સાંભળવામાં? નથી. આમાં જોઈએ છે એટલે. Shantah, when that fire is extinguished. Ekah angarah khadyotamatrah. Imagine that there is just one ember left of the size of a little firefly. Only that much is left. From a huge fire that was set ablaze, when that fire is put out, then only one little ember is left. Tena tatopi na bahau dahed. That little ember cannot burn anything more than itself. Evam somya te shurashanam kalanam eka kala atishishta syad. Similarly, somya, the 16 kalas, 16 parts that you possess of the power of the mind. So Bhashyakara says here that the 16 parts are the 16-fold power of the mind, or 16, the mind divided into the power of the mind divided into 16 parts. Of that power, only one little is left. When you observe fast for 15 days, then for 15 days the mind was not nourished, and therefore it is left with one little ember of energy. Taya etarhi vedan na anubhavasi. With that little ember of memory, you cannot remember now the Vedas that you used to remember. Atha ashana. Therefore, may you now eat food. So ashana, athame vijñāsyasi iti. Then you will understand what I am telling you. So the father said, Taya tvam khadyotamatranga tulyaya etarhi idanim vedan na anubhavasi. Only a little energy of your mind is left. Because of that, you cannot remember the Vedas. Na pratipadyate, you cannot comprehend them. Question is of the mantras as well as the meaning of the mantras. Shutva me mama vacham atha ashesham vijñāsyasi. And so, listening to me now, do what I am telling you to do, then you will know everything. Meaning your power of mind will come back. Atha ashana bhungshva tavat. Therefore, may you now eat the food. Continuing on the page 252. In the passage 4th, the Shruti says, Saha ashe atha enam upasasade tamha yatkincha papracha sarvam ha pratipede. Saha asha. Ha is aitihya. This is how it happened. So the Upanishad is telling us the story. Saha asha. According to instruction of the father, the son Shvetaketu, he ate food. Atha enam upasasada. And thereafter he approached his father. Tam yat kinja papracha. What the father asked of him to recite, sarvamha pratipede. He understood or he comprehended everything. So Bhashyakara says, Saha tathaiva ashe bhuktavan atha anantaram ha enam pitaram shushrushuhu upasasade tamha upagatam putram yatkincha rugadishu papracha grantharupam arthajatam va pita sashvetaketuhu sarvam ha tat pratipede rugadi arthatah granthatascha. Saha tathaiva asha. As told by the father, in that manner he ate food. Asha bhuktavan. He ate. Atha means anantaram. Thereafter. Ha enam pitaram upasasada. He approached his father. Shushrushuhu. So, desirous of hearing what the father had to ask, he approached his father. Tama upagatam putram. The son who had thus properly approached him. Yatkincha rugadishu papracha. The father asked to recite the particular mantras of Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda. So this is how the chanting competitions are performed. That they may ask you to start reciting from any particular page. The small children have so memorized the whole text that when they are asked to recite from, he will just tell you this particular sentence and he will blurt it out. That bright these children are, so well versed they are. That's how the memory is. So, yatkincha rugadishu papracha. Whatever the father asked him of Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Grantharupam, Arthajatam va, whatever the father asked him to decide in terms of text, Arthajatam va, or asked him to give the meaning of the text. Shvetaketu sarva tat pratipede. Shvetaketu comprehended everything, understood everything, remembered everything, recited everything. What? Rugadi arthata grantatascha. Sarvam Rugadi. Whether it's Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, he was able to recite the text as well as tell the meaning also. Meaning that he retrieved or recovered or got back all the 16 kalas or 16-fold power of the mind. Next passage. Tam hovacha yatha somya mahatah abhyahitasya ekamangaram khadyotamatram parishishtam tam trunaihi upasamadhaya prajvalayet tena tatopi bahudahed. Tam hovacha pita, the father said, yatha somya mahato abhyahitasya ekamangaram khadyotamatram parishishtam. Same example. Just as from a blazing fire, when that fire is extinguished, then one little ember of the size of a firefly remains. Tam trunaihi upasamadhaya. When that little ember is now combined with trunaihi, with the dry blades of grass, which are combustible, which easily burn. Prajvalayet, and then when you set it to fire, tena tatopi bahudahet, then even that little ember of fire also is able to burn much more than its own size. So that's what the Bhashyakara says. Tam hovacha punah pita yatha somya mahatah abhyahitasya ityadi samanam ekamangaram shantasya agnehe khadyotamatram parishishtam tam tam trunaihi, only one tam trunaihi churnaischa upasamadhaya prajvalayet vardhayet tena iddhena angarena tatopi purvaparimanat bahudahed. So hovacha punah pita, the father again told the boy, yatha somya, just as, O good looking one, mahatah abhyahitasya ityadi samanam, that passage is same as before, meaning a big fire which is set ablaze, and when that fire gets extinguished, then one little ember of the size of firefly remains. Ekamangaram shantasya agnehe khadyotamatram parishishtam. Khadyota is just firefly. You know, the thing that just appears in the dark at night? So thus this little ember is left. Tam trunaihi churnaihi trunaihi churnaischa upasamadhaya. But if you now support it with dry blades of grass or sawdust churnaihi. So Tika says, Truna Shabda Agni Prajvalan Hetu Matra Upalakshanartha Ityaha. When the Shruti uses the word Truna or dry blade of grass, it includes everything else. Agni Prajvalan Hetu Matra Upalakshanartha. It stands for anything which can set the fire ablaze. Churnaihi means what? Atyalpaihi shakalaihi ityartha. Small little pieces, shakalaihi. Small little pieces of wood. You can just sawdust. In those days, they may not have, now they have machinery. In United States, they cut the trees, big branches and the stem, put it in the whole thing in the machine, and comes out as mulch, small pieces. That's called mulch, and that's what they put around the trees and also in the flower beds, etc. That mulch protects from the blazing sun, and also preserves the moisture inside. So now they have a machine for everything. When the gardeners come for gardening, they have all kinds of little gadgets for cutting the grass, for the edges, for everything. There are small little machines. They just do everything. One man, from morning till evening, you finish such a big ground, you see. Here they will keep on cutting with the scissors and things like that. Surnehi upasamadhaya prajvalet. If you set it to fire along with the blade of grass or along with the sawdust, vardhaye, then it will grow. Tena iddhena angarena, then the angara or the ember becomes then set is ablaze. Tatopi pura parimanat bahudahet. Even though that ember is small in size, it can burn much larger, so much larger things. Continuing the next passage. Evam somya te shodashanam kalanam eka kala atishishta bhud sa annena upasamahita prajvale taya etarhi vedan anubhavase अन्नमयं हि सौम्य मनः आपोमयः प्राणः तेजोमयी वागिति तद्ध अस्य विजज्ञौ इति एवं सौम्य te shudoshanam kalanam eka kala atishashta abhut. Similarly, he Somya, of the 16-fold part of the mind, just one part, 1/16 of the part was left, because you did not eat food for 15 days, and therefore the 15 parts out of 16, they got lost. Sa annena upasamahita prajvali. That little power of memory that was left, now when combined with food, like that little ember combined with sawdust or grass, how when set to fire, how it burns what is around it. Similarly now, this little power of mind was left when combined with food, which is comparable to that grass or the sawdust. Taya etari vedan anubhavasi. That means your whole mind was now set ablaze with all its power of the energy. Therefore, hey Somya, now you remember all the Vedas. Annamaya Somya manah apomaya prana tejomaya vagiti. So Father concludes this lesson that, hey Somya, the mind is the modification of food, the prana is modification of water, and the speech is the modification of fire. Taddasya vijajñau. Now no further questions left. 3 times the Shvetaketu asked because he was not clear, and Father explained that. Now he is quite satisfied with Anvaya Vitareka. He vijajñau. Now understood exactly how Annamayam Manah, apomayah prana tejomayi vakiti. Bhashyakara says, evam somya te षोडशानाम् अन्नकलानां सामर्थ्यरूपाणाम् एका कला अतिशिष्टा अभूत् अतिशिष्टा आसीत् पंचदश आहानि अभुक्तवतः एकैकेन अन्नान् एकैका कला चंद्रमसः इव अपरपक्षे क्षीणा सा अतिशिष्टा कला तव अन्नेन भुक्तेन उपसमाहिता वर्धिता उपचिता प्राज्वाली एवं सौम्यते षोडशानाम अन्न कलानाम. These 16 kalas or the 16 the aspects of the 16 parts of the mind, samarthya rupanam, which is samarthya, the power of the mind, of the 16 units that make up the power of the mind. Eka kala athishishta bhut, only one unit was left. Why? Atishtasit panchadashani abhuktavatah, because you did not eat food for 15 days. So what happened? Ekaikena anna ekaika kala. Every day one kala or one unit was lost. Giving example, chandramasaiva aparapakshe, just as in the dark half of the month, how the one unit or one part or one digit of moon is lost every day, here also the one unit of the mind was lost every day. Sa atishishta kala. But then, so father did not ask him to observe fast for 16 days, 15 days. So one kala is left. Annena bhuktena, when the food is eaten, it is so upasamahita, vardita, upachita, prajvali. When it was burned, set to fire, along with the food that you ate now today. Then Bhashyakara says, Dairigyam Chhandasam Prajvalita Vardita Ityartha. So you see, the Shruti says Samahita Prajvali, that leaves Dirgha in the Shruti. Bhashyakara says Prajvali, where leaves Rasva. So Bhashyakara, Dairigyam, the Dirgha is Chhandasam, is a Vedic license, as they translate. I have a footnote here, it says Chinnantasya Lagvantatva Auchityadaha. So that which ends with chin pratyaya. What is chin? Is substitute e. Chin stands for the e. Prescribed in the case of all roots in the passive voice. This is, I think, aorist, prajvali. And so there, the dirgha rasva is prescribed. So, lagvantatva auchityat. It should laghu, or it should be a short e. But Shruti uses long e, so Bhashyakara says, Dairgyam Chandasam. We should understand that to be the Vedic usage. So Prajvali, Prajvalita was set to fire, Vardhita was made to grow. So this is the preraka or causal Prajvali. Or Bhashyakara says, so the Tika also said, Prajvaliti dirghapathe chinantasya hrasvatvat dairgyam chandasam. So prajvaliti dirgha pathe, when the E is long, chinantasya hrasvatvat. So what ends with chin or E should be hrasva or should be short. Dairgham, therefore the long is chandasam dairghamiti. Or takaranta pathamaha. Maybe the Shruti is alright, but then the patha, the reading is somewhat different. So Vashyakara says, Prajvalit iti pathantaram tada tena upasamahita swayam prajvalitavati ityarthaha. Or maybe Prajvali, that's the reading. Pathantaram, an alternate reading may be Prajvalit. Tada, then what should be the meaning? Tena upasamahita swayam prajvalitavati. Not causal now. So it's a direct, and therefore Prajvalit, it got burned, it burned itself. So when you combine that food, that little ember burned itself. So tika asmin pakshe nijartha abhavad vyachaste swayamiti. This is now that Prajvali was causal, this is not causal. And therefore, so itself it got burnt, itself it burnt. Bhashya continues further. Taya varditaya etarhi idani vedan anubhavase upalabhase. Taya varditaya. By that little ember, the fire that was then made to grow. Idan Vedan Anubhavasi. So now you are able to remember all the Vedas. Meaning now the power of the mind has come back because of food, and therefore you remember everything. This is the experiment. Anyway, so I don't know whether you really lose all your power by fasting or depends, So, but anyway, this is what it says. Continuing, Bhashyakara says, evam vyavritti anuvrittibhyam annamayatvam manasah siddham iti upasamharati annamayam hi somya manah ityadi. Vyavritti anuvrittibhyam. So says Anandagiri, vyavritti vyatirekaha annopayoga abhave manasa samarthya abhavaha. Anvaya, so vyavritti anuvritti. Anuvritti is anvaya, vyavritti is vyatireka. So what is vyavritti vyatireka? Anna upayoga abhave manasa samarthya abhavaha. When you do not eat food, then the mind loses the capacity. In Ambaji, there is this great person who has not eaten any food for 65 years, Not even had drunk water, nothing for 65 years. But that's a different kind of power, But nothing has happened to his body, and the people all doctors are amazed, as to what's the mechanism with which this goes on. They have done a lot of research on him, but they were not able to come to any conclusion. Anuvritti anvaya, that is agreement. Vyatireka, disagreement, separation. Anuvritti anvaya, agreement. Annopayoge manas samarthamiti bheda. When the food is consumed, then the mind gets back its power. So without the food, mind loses the power. With the food, mind regains the power. So that is how. एवं व्यावृत्ति अनुवृत्तिभ्याम मनस अन्नमयत्वम सिद्धम. Thus it is proven that and that mind is nourished by the food, therefore is made up of food. Iti upasamharati. Annamaya somya manah ityadi. Vashyakara sadi, the father said, so annamaya somya, it is now proven that the mind is modification of food. And then apomaya prana, tejomaya vak. Prana is a modification of water, vak is a modification of fire. So Anandagiri says, Manasaha annamayatvam upapadaitum upakrantam apomaya prana ityadi kathamehi uchyate. Here the whole experiment was conducted to establish how the mind is the product of food or modification of food. So that is what the teacher should have concluded. Say Somya Annamayami Somya Manah. That should have been the conclusion. But the teacher says Apomaya Prana Tejomaya Vak Kathamiha Uchyate. But no experiment is conducted to prove that the prana is a product of water or the speech is product of fire. No experiment is conducted to establish that. So Kathamiha Uchyate. Anagiri says, how does the father say that? Or the other tika says, the Abhinav Narayananandendra. Nanu Anve Vyatireka Manasa Annamayasva Sadhitatvat. So by the method of Anvaya and Vyatireka, it is established how the mind is the product of food. Tadev upasamhartavyam. That alone should be upasamhara or conclusion. Na pranade apomayatvadikam. But not that prana is the product of water, etc. Iti asankya nyayasya tulyatvat. The idea is that whatever rule applies to the relationship of the food and the mind, similar rule also applies to other two relationships. That prana is the product of water, speech is the product of fire. Same nyaya, same rule applies. Therefore, when the rule is proven in one case, it is applicable in all the cases. Tadapi anenaiva sadhita prayam. Therefore, by this experiment, we should understand that the other two also are as good as established. Iti tat upasamharopi yujyate. Therefore, that conclusion also is quite proper. Iti vyachaste. That's what Bhashyakara says, yathaitaditi. So Bhashyakara says, yathaitate manasaha annamayatvam tava siddham tatha apomaya pranaha tejomaya vak iti etadapi siddham eva ityabhiprayah. Just as, O my son, etan manasa annamayatvam tava siddham, just as for you, this is now established that mind is the product of food. Tatha, in a manner similar to that, applying the same rule, apomaya prana, prana is the product of water, tejomaya vak, and speech is the product of fire. Means of ghee, oil, etc., the sticky substances or greasy substances. Iti edapi siddhameva abhipraya. That also is as well established. That is what the intention is. The last sentence, further the Bhashya says, Tadetadha asya pituhu uktam mana adinam annadimayatvam vijajño Vijñātavān Shvetaketuhu. Tadetad ha asya. So then ha becomes dha. So tadha asya, tadhasya. Tadha again ha is aitihya. Asya means what? Pituhu uktam. Of what the father said. What is it? Mana adinam annadimayatvam. That mind is the product of food, the prana is the product of water, etc. That the father said. Vijajñau Vijñātavān Shvetaketuhu. Shvetaketu now clearly knew or understood this. Vijajñau iti, twice it is said. So Anandagiri says, Vidya Samapti Mantarena Katham Dvirvachanamiti. Still chapter is not over. Brahma Vidya is not yet imparted in its totality. So without that, how does the Shruti say Vijajñaviti, Vijajñaviti? So usually this repetition, Dvirukti, is to conclude the text. But the text is not concluded, and still the Shruti repeats this word or repeats this phrase. Why? So Bhashyakara says, Dvirabhyasaha Trivrit Prakarana. No, Trivrit Karana Prakarana Samaptyarthaha. The separate Prakarana. Trivrit Karana Prakaranam. The Prakaranam on the topic of Trivrit Karanam, the threefold combination, that topic is completed. And that's why the Shruti uses this repeats the sentence. To this, the other Tikakara adds in the line 35, Idam uparnamayatvam idam upalakshanam. So what did Shvetaketu now learn? Vijajñau. He knew, or he learned. What did he learn? Bhashyakara says he learned that the mind is the product of food, then prana is the product of water, and the sea is the product of fire. That's what he understood. But this Tikakara says a little differently. Annamayadve idam upalakshanam. Pindadehe bāhyascha agnadehe evam bhautikattvena sthite. Pindadehe, that pinda is bhautika. The whole purpose of this whole discussion, the purpose is to show how this pinda or this individual body-mind complex also is a product of the three elements, that's all. So bhautika is what? Made of bhutas, made up of three elements. Bāhyasya agnadehe. First, of course, was shown how Agni, Aditya, Chandramaha, and then Vidyut. In all those cases, was shown how the external world is a product of three elements. And this showed how the individual pinda also a product of three elements. Evam bhautikatve sthite. Bhautikam means what? So, what we call the elemental. Bhuta is element, bhautika elemental. So everything is a product of the combination of three elements. Bhuta vyatirekena tasya abhavat. So that nothing is free from the three elements. Whatever is a product of three elements. Trini rupani ityeva satyam. Only three colors, avachanambram, vikaro namadhyam, trini rupani ityeva satyam. So whatever is modification is vachanambram, is mithya, is unreal. Trini rupani ityeva satyam. Only three colors are real, three elements are real. But then Bhashyakara showed how that process should be stretched further. Bhutanam cha moola karana vyatirekena abhavat. Don't think that the three elements enjoy the ultimate reality, no. Relative to names and forms, the three elements enjoy a higher degree of reality. But they themselves are also product. And therefore, the food can be reduced to water, which is its material cause. The water in turn can be reduced to fire, which is its material cause, and fire ultimately reduced to Sat or Brahman, which is its cause. So bhutanam cha mool karanam vyatirekena abhavat. These bhuta, the elements, are not separate from its primordial cause, which is Brahman, which is Sat. Sat Advaitam Vijajnam Ityapi Drashtavyam. So Vijajnyo Shvetaketu knew. What did he knew? Sat Advaitam or Advitiyatvam. The Sat is one without a second. That is what also Shvetaketu understood. So this is the Saptama Khanda is complete. This is not causal, the passive voice. I am sorry, that Prajvali is a passive voice here, not causal. So here we conclude and we cover the Brahma Sutras which are covered, by this section. So Brahma Sutra that we will be seeing is 2420, page 588 in this Brahma Sutra book. So Sutra says, Sanya Murti Kliptistu Trivit Kurvatah Upadeshat. Sanya is name. Murti is Rupa, So Nama and Rupa. Sanya can be name or designation. Murti means Rupa or the shape. Kluptihi is creation. So creation of name and form is by whom? Trivit kurvata eva. So whichever entity combine the three elements in a threefold way, Trivit Karanam, that very same entity also further created names and forms. This is not very clear from Shruti. The Shruti says, Tasam Trivutam Ekaikam Karvani iti. The Devata called Sat thus deliberated that I'll make each of the three elements threefold and threefold. That is okay. But what about this world of names and forms? Who created that? So a question may arise that somebody other than Ishvara created this. Ishvara created up to the three elements, and further creation took place by somebody else, by Jiva. That's just an argument. So, no, that's not the case. Trikurvataha, the entity that carried out the threefold combination, that entity alone proceeded to create the names and forms also. Why? Upadeshas. So that is the Upadesha or the teaching of the Upanishad. Here I have this tika says, Tu shabdastu atra sutre vadi siddhanta bhanjana prayojaka sanya murti kluptistu. That tu is for refuting the opinion of the Purva Paksha. Trivrit kurvatah, of the one who has carried out this Trivrit Karanam or the threefold combination. How? Tasam Trivritam Ekaikam Karvaniti Trivrit Kurvata Parameshwarasya. So this is very clear. Sa Devata Aikshata, that Devata or Sat deliberated that Anena Jivena Atmana Anupravishya Nam Rupe Vyakarvani iti. I will bring to clear manifestation the names and forms. No, that is not clear. Who did that? That is another problem. But that tasam triyudam ekaikam karmani, that I will make this each element threefold and threefold. Parameshwarasya sanya murti klupti. Sanya, nama, murti, rupa, klupti, creation, nama rupeho vyakriya, the manifestation of the names and forms. So three elements are brought to manifestation. But then further, the names and forms also are brought to manifestation by the same Parameshvara. Vyakriya Pruthakkaranam. So they were avyakrita, undifferentiated. So differentiation of the names and forms also was carried out by Parameshvara. न जीवस्य अल्पमेधस्य मेधसः a jiva so anisho va kuryat bhuvana janane kaf parikarah. Anisho va kuryat. Anisha, this jiva is anisha, is powerless, helpless. What parikara, what capacity does he have to create this universe? Mahidharadi vyakarana asamarthasya. Can the jiva create mountains? Asamartha. So jiva who himself is insignificant cannot create this universe consisting of huge entities such as mountains, etc. That means this manifestation of names and forms is not the act of a jiva who is limited. Kutah, why do you say that? Upadeshat. But that's what the Upanishad says. Sayam devata idupakamya vyakarvana iti. Therefore, I will enter these three elements as the jiva and bring to clear manifestation names and forms. Iti upasamhare paradevata kartrukasya vyakaranasya shasanat. That vyakaranam, the clear manifestation, is also on the part of same paradevata, same supreme deity who created the three elements. Same supreme deity also brought to manifestation names and forms. That's the sutra. Looking at the Vaiyasika Nyayamala, नाम रूप व्याकरणे जीवः कर्ता अथवेश्वरः अनेन जीवेन इत्युक्ते व्याकर्ता जीव इष्यते जीवान्वयः प्रवेशेन सन्निधेः सर्ववर्जने जीवो शक्तः शक्त ईश उत्तमोक्तिस्तु तथेक्षितुः. So this is a way of analyzing the statements of the Upanishad, where there is some doubt, where a statement is subject to different interpretation. Then pramana must necessarily have one explanation and not more than one. There should not be any doubt about the explanation of the statement of Upanishad. It must be very clear. Asandigdham, no doubt must be left, no sandeha must be left. Therefore the Sutrakara created different sandehas, questioning the meaning of the statements and establish with reasoning how the meaning should be in the sense that we have in terms of Advitiyatvam. Only Parameshvara has created the whole universe, then alone he is Upadana Karanam, then alone non-duality can be established, not otherwise. So wherever any doubts or possible alternative explanations are possible, so they were taken for the investigation or inquiry and the final conclusion arrived at. So Nama Rupa Vyakarane Jiva Karta Athva Ishvara. Nama Rupa Vyakarane, for the clear manifestation of name and form, is Jiva Karta, is Jiva the agent of that creation manifestation? Athva Ishvara, that's the doubt. Or Ishvara is the Karta, the agent of that manifestation. That's the doubt. What is Purva Paksha? Anena Jivena iti uktehe anena Jivena Atmana anupravishya. I will enter as a Jiva, and then bring to manifestation. Iti yuktehe Vyakarta jiva ishyate. That statement should be interpreted as that jiva, so the Paramatma became jiva, and then the Vyakaranam, the manifestation came about. Therefore, jiva brought to manifestation names and form. That is the meaning of that statement. Whether that meaning makes sense or not is a different thing, but that's the meaning. So hence is given jivanvaya praveshena sannidehe sarvavarjane. So this jivena vyakarvani or jivena anupravishya. Anena jivena anupravishya or anena jivena vyakarvani. This is, where should that anvaya be? So Purvapakshi says anena jivena vyakarvani. In the form of this jiva, I'll bring the manifestation. Siddhanta is anena jivena anupravishya, as jiva will enter. So jiva anvaya praveshena. The jiva is to be connected with pravesha. Sannidehe, because of the proximity. Vyakarvani is little separated. Jivena anupravishya immediately follows. So sarva sarjane, therefore, in all the sarjana of creation, jiva ashakta. Jiva is of insignificant capacity to create everything. Shakta Isha, where Ishvara is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman. Therefore, he has the capability of creating the universe. Uttamokti tatha ikshituhu. Vyakarvani is the Uttama Purusha, the first person. Who says that? Does Jiva say or does Ishvara say? So Uttamokti tatha ikshituhu. So, sa devata aikshata. So, that devata which deliberated is the one who says, so, vyakarvani. So, the first person applies to the same one who created. So, here the Tika says of this Vaiyasika Nyayamala, Ishvarena panchabhuteshu srushteshu. When Ishvara created the 5 elements instead of 3, because already the conclusion arrived at earlier. The 3 elements which are mentioned by Chhandogya should stand for the 5 elements. Because Chhandogya also mentions Pranaha, Akasha, understand earlier. Sutras talked about Akasha, Prana, so Akasha, Vayu are mentioned by Chhandogya also. In the Samvarga Vidya, Vayu is air, is taught as the place where everything ultimately gets resolved. So Chhandogya does mention Akasha and Vayu. So we should understand that even though 3 elements are mentioned specifically, Chhandogya means 5 elements. The 5 colors are not there, therefore the 3 colors are easy. That's why that prakriya is very convenient to show how everything is 3 elements. Ishvarena panchabhuteshu srushteshu. When Ishvara created the 5 elements, bhautikayoho drishyamanayoho mahidharadi namarupayoho. But those 3 elements are subtle and therefore you cannot perceive them. What you perceive is this universe of names and forms, which is the product of the grossified elements. So, drishyamanayoho, what is perceived, what is experienced, mahidharadi, mahidhara means a mountain, namarupayoho, the names and forms consisting of a mountain, etc. Jiva eva srashta syat. Purvapakshi says that Jiva is the creator of this universe according to the sentence, that's all. Kutaha, on what ground do you say that Jiva is created? Anena jivena atmana anupravishya namarupe vyakarvani iti. Purvapakshi says, Anena jivena vyakarvani, that vyakarvani, I will bring the manifestation, applies to Jiva. Iti jiva rupasyeva srishta anvaya shravanat. So Vyakarvani, that surgeon of creation, is connected to Jiva. That's how Purvapakshi interprets the sentence, and this Purvapaksha is there. Answer is given. Iti prapte brumaha. So when this is what the Purvapakshi says, then we have to say this. Jivena anupravishyati praveshena jiva anveti. Anena jivena atmana anupravishya namarupe vyakarvani. Anupravishya is in proximity, vyakarvana is more separated, more remote. Therefore, praveshena jiva anveti, jivena should be connected with the pravesha rather than with vyakaranam. Sannihitatvat, because it is closer, more proximate. Anena jivena atman anupravishya. Jivena vyakarani tuktau vyavahitanvaya syat. So jivena vyakarvani, then you are connecting word jiva with vyakarana, the other word, the kriyapada or the verb which is remote or more separated. That's one thing. Meaning even this statement also can be interpreted this way. And then let us look at the logic. Nahi jivasya giri nadi nirmane shakti asti. This jiva cannot create the mountains and rivers. It doesn't have the power, doesn't have the wherewithal. Ishvarastu sarvashakti yukta hai. Ishvara is possessed of all the powers. Parasya shakti vividaiva shruyate iti shravanat. How do you say that Ishvara has a power? Because that's what the Shruti says. Parasya asya parashakti vivida eva shruyate. Of this Ishvara, the supreme power is said to be in different ways. So, variety of power this supreme deity possesses. It is Shravan. That's what Shruti says elsewhere. Then Vyakarvani also is the first person. Vyakarvanayati uttama purushopi Ishvara pakshe samanjasa. This first person also more properly, more appropriately applies to Ishvara than applies to Jiva. Because anena jivena. So, sa devata aikshata. So, the subject here is that devata. Anena jivena atma anupravishya vyakarvana. Therefore, that sentence, that vyakarvana, the verb, must go to same karta, same agent. Therefore, it is proper that the sentence also, the first person, not only jivena, but then vyakarvani also. That first person properly applies to Parameshvara. Uttama Purushopi Ishvara Paksha Samanjasa. So Vyakarvani, when connected to Ishvara, then it fits in properly. Tasmat Ishvara eva Namarupayo Srashta. Therefore, Ishvara alone is the creator of names and forms. Then question is, Katham Tarhi Ghatapatadau Kulaladehe Nirmatritvam. But how about then the creation of a pot and the cloth? So pot is created by pot maker, cloth is created by a weaver. So we see the Jiva creating this thing. Where do we see Ishvara creating? Our experience is that all the small and big things are created by Jiva. So therefore you infer that in the beginning of creation also Jiva must have created the universe, just as today you see the Jiva creating these various things. So how is it that the Jiva is found to create things these days? Ishvara prerana tati brumaha. The Jiva can create provided prerana or the inspiration or anugraha of Ishvara is there. Mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadhamyam sambhavas sarvabhutanam tato bhavati bharata. Hey Bharata, I impart the womb to Maya, which is my yoni, and from that all the jivas are created. Sarva yonisha kaunteya murteya sambhavantiyaha brahma mahadyoni aham bija pradafpita. So Lord Krishna says that wherever any progeny is created, understand that Maya is the mother or the material cause and I am the father. So wherever creation takes place, I am the creator and Maya is the material cause. So Ishvara Prenati Brahma Tasmad Ishvareva Sarvakarta iti Siddham. Therefore, Ishvara alone is the creator of everything. This is what is Siddham established here. Okay. So that is Vaiyasika Nyayamala. Tomorrow we will continue with the Sutra text. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.